We live in a world that constantly whispers and sometimes shouts that we should be more. Smarter, richer, more attractive, more productive, more extraordinary. And in this pursuit of more, many of us find ourselves caught in the trap of perfectionism. Perfectionism can feel like striving toward greatness, but often it's not. It's a prison built out of impossible standards and silent comparisons, where every success feels incomplete and every failure feels unbearable. The paradox of perfection is this: the closer you get to it, the further away it seems. Because perfection isn't real. It's an idea, an abstract ideal that exists only in our minds. And like the horizon, no matter how far you walk, it keeps moving further away. Perfectionism doesn't always wear the same mask. Sometimes it looks like endless work, late nights chasing goals, rewriting and refining. Other times, it looks like procrastination, putting things off, because if you can't do it perfectly, then why do it at all? It can even look like success. From the outside, people may admire your drive, your attention to detail, your achievements. But inside, the perfectionist rarely feels admiration for themselves. There's always a mistake that could have been avoided, a detail that could have been better, a version of themselves that could have been closer to flawless. Humans are not designed for perfection. We are creatures of error and contradiction. Our brains are limited, our bodies fragile, our emotions often irrational. And yet, this imperfection is not our curse, it's our defining feature. Think of art. The beauty of a painting doesn't lie in its mathematical accuracy. It lies in the brushstrokes, the imperfections, the flaws that reveal the hand of the artist. Think of music. A song sung with perfect pitch but no soul feels lifeless. But a trembling voice, cracking on a note, can bring us to tears. The very things perfectionists try to erase, the mistakes, the cracks, the deviations, are the things that make life authentic. The attempt to scrub them away is not just impossible, it's inhuman. The tragedy of perfectionism is that it never ends. The standard shifts, the goalposts move. What was once good enough becomes inadequate the moment you achieve it. This is why perfectionists are rarely satisfied. The finish line doesn't exist. And so, the chase becomes exhausting, a constant hunger that cannot be filled. It robs you of joy. Because even when you do something meaningful, perfectionism whispers, "It wasn't good enough. You should have done more." It robs you of time. Because you spend hours polishing details that don't matter, while life quietly slips by. And worst of all, it robs you of peace. Because no matter how hard you work, you're never allowed to feel complete. But what if imperfection is not something to escape, but something to embrace? What if life isn't about reaching some flawless state, but about living fully within the cracks and chaos? Psychologist Carl Rogers once said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." True growth doesn't come from chasing perfection. It comes from acceptance, from understanding that you are flawed, and that's okay. Acceptance does not mean stagnation. It does not mean giving up. It means striving not for an impossible ideal, but for authenticity. It means creating not because it's perfect, but because it's real. It means loving not because the other is flawless, but because they are human. Why you'll never achieve perfection, and why that's beautiful. You will never be perfect. Your work will never be perfect. Your life will never be perfect. But that doesn't mean it will not be beautiful, meaningful, and worthwhile. In fact, it's precisely because of imperfection that beauty, meaning, and worth exist. A life of imperfection is not a failure. It is the only life possible. And if you can embrace it, if you can see the cracks not as signs of brokenness, but as openings where light gets in, then perfectionism no longer holds power over you. Because the truth is, you don't need to be perfect to live fully. You just need to be human. And maybe, one day, you'll realize that what you thought was imperfection wasn't imperfection at all. It was life, raw, flawed, and endlessly worth living.